What's the best picnic you've been on? I know some people here have done Clumber Park with a band or concert playing. Maybe some have been to Chatsworth, they do them, or down to even to London. Is it Hyde Park or Regent's Park where they have the big concerts and proms on the park? That's what I'm thinking about. And they all go on the grass. Anybody been to any of these great events and enjoyed it and loved it? You even see pictures, don't you? They've down with the chairs all out, and candelabras, and champagne and everything else. I've never quite managed. I must admit, I fancied going to Clumber, and we couldn't get tickets once for a show that was going on there. But a great idea. So have a think about your best picnics, and I'll share mine with you. My best one was about, I think it was last year, and it was down at Padley Gorge. Are we all familiar with Padley Gorge in Derbyshire, and this stream or brook running through the bottom? And of course it was with our 4 grandchildren and Heather, and all of us in the car and out to Padley Gorge, down to the bottom, and they got very wet, as kids do down there, which is normal, and then a picnic on the grass on a beautiful summer's day, similar to what we are now. I'm sure it will be very busy, even with lockdown out there today. But it didn't just happen, did it, the picnic? And of course, one likes pickle on their cheese, and other doesn't even like cheese, and one has to have brown bread with the crust cut off, and the other one only likes cheese and onion crisps. But that's kids, isn't it? And that's how it is. So Heather would have been preparing at least for a good hour before we went to make sure everybody got what they wanted and there was enough for everyone. And Heather's not here this morning. It's not because it's me who's here. Some might think that. She doesn't take objection to sitting and listening to me, although I think she would tell you she hears enough from me through the week. But she's making a strawberry roulade for Isabel's, who's 12. It was her birthday yesterday, but it's the family in the garden picnic this afternoon, and she's out doing things, making things ready for that. It has to be fresh, apparently. I'll leave it to her. But great plans are given to all this to make sure it's just right. And then we had our gospel reading, the feeding of the 5,000. And it's something, strangely, I've never talked about. And I've got my thoughts on it, and I don't know if anyone else has. And, you know, my thought was, you can't feed 5,000 people on the spur of the moment with 5 loaves and 2 fishes. It's just impossible and cannot be done. And the best explanation I once heard, I can't even remember where, was that secretly everybody had brought a bit of food anyway with them. And when they were giving it out, they didn't want to share it with the others. They suddenly appeared and they all ate. And I was, you know, reasonably happy with that kind of thought, that something like that had happened. And then late last night, because we had visitors, so to be after 10, 11, I got on Google, as I do, after the phone call with Paul at 8 o'clock. And I felt a little ashamed to think like that. That's the size of my God. He couldn't do something like that to feed 5,000 men. Then the women and children. A lot of scholars believe it was in excess of 15,000 people, not 5,000 people. And, you know, I felt really ashamed because this is the only miracle which is in all 4 Gospels. It was that important to the Gospel writers to include this miracle. And it made me think, and reading some of the things, that how big is my God? Is he a God of miracles who can feed in excess of 5,000 people? And can he make this wonderful feast to satisfy all these people with 5 loaves and 2 fishes? Or is he a person who would need everyone to bring a bit of food with them? I do believe he's bigger, stronger. Not only to feed those people, but to give them more than they needed. There was in excess food to feed all those people. He used such simple things, didn't spend hours preparing. He used what was there. And moreover, he used the people who was there to do his work and give it out to them. And I sometimes think we feel, don't we, that we can't possibly do this. We haven't got the resources. We haven't got what it takes. We're not clever enough. We're not good enough to do God's work. We can't do these wonderful things in God's name. But we have to think. No excuses. No riddling out of things. We are his people. He is the same God who fed the 5,000 people, in excess of 5,000 people. We just have to know and believe that he is a God of miracle and a God of wonders who can perform these wonderful things. Not with hours of preparation, not going to Morrison's to buy food to feed 5,000 people and more. He uses what we have and he uses who we are. So, no more excuses, no more riddling out. Let's go out into the world in the name of Christ and do his work. Amen.